Good morning. My name is Bonna Heinzen with the Cook County Farm Bureau, and I get the pleasure of spending this morning with Dan Biernacki, who is in the middle of the greenhouse. So, Dan, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your history in agriculture.
Sure, Bonnie, good morning. I grew up in the business. My dad started the business in 1948, and he moved to our current location in 1957. And my earliest memories, I was probably 4 or 5, and I would help in the greenhouse. Uh, I went to DuPage Horticultural School in 1988, and joined with him after that. And I've been here ever since, and probably in the early 90s, my dad sort of backed off, and Karen and I took the reins and have been running it since then.
Can you tell me more about Ted's greenhouse, what you grow, where you're located?
Yeah, sure. We're in Tinley Park, Illinois. We're kind of unique, and we do a lot of different types of plants. So there aren't many people left like us in the industry that just do a wide range of things. So we do anything from cactus and succulents and herbs and vegetable plants, perennials, annuals, a few shrubs. We do a lot of work with the urban gardens in Chicago, doing their transplants, etc.
Wonderful. Now, you're a current member of our board of directors. When were you elected to the board, and how did you start with the Farm Bureau?
I actually started in 2006 on the commodities and marketing team, and then I joined the board of directors in 2008.
Very nice. And what brought you to the commodities and marketing team? Did somebody recruit you, or how did we gain you?
Actually, I was recruited by a past president, Jim Brandow, and he thought it would be a good fit, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
I giggle because Jim or his dad have been brought up with several of our board members and how they joined Cook County Farm Bureau. And it's neat to see that. Now, as far as I can remember, you have always been with the commodity and marketing team. Can you tell us a little bit about what that team does and some of the activities?
Sure. With commodities and marketing, our main focus is to help our members with their ability to increase their profits. So we have all kinds of seminars based off of that. We also do urban garden grants with the goal of helping the urban gardens, as well as pushing business towards our farmer members. We also do beekeeping classes, and we have our big program for the year is the Giant Pumpkin Contest, which was the 20th year, I believe, this year. So,
Have you ever won the Giant Pumpkin Contest?
I don't think I've ever taken first. I've had a couple of seconds or thirds, but never had the biggest.
I had to giggle at that because I think the pumpkin contest, I mean, I hear the stories out of people about the different ways of growing them and moving them around and things like that. So I always have to ask.
It's
Um,
pretty intense.
it is. You guys take great pleasure in it. So when you joined our board of directors, can you talk about just some of the accomplishments that the board has made and some of the activities that you guys are most proud of?
Wow, there's been so many. I think I'm most proud of just our ability to interact with legislators in the state and try to tell our story and allow them to see what we do and understand, why we are so involved in so many different things in the state. So there's a lot of facets of our business that they don't understand, why that would matter to us. But when they realize what we actually do, it helps in their process.
Absolutely. And I have to thank you and your wife and your daughters especially, because as a staff member, you guys are almost always, if not always, the first people to volunteer to help out. You're involved in every activity, and I truly appreciate that. And we've had Mike has been on and he's talked about food checkout day, but nobody so far has talked about Wagner Dairy Breakfast. And I know you and Karen have been at that for 5, 6, 7 years now. But can you talk a little bit about the dairy breakfast?
Sure. Well, the dairy breakfast is something that we really enjoy going to. It's a great example of farming getting out to the general public and them understanding what happens on a farm and to see the different activities, the judging of the animals, and just a good way to interact with people and get them to see what we do on a pretty large scale. There's quite a few attendees.
Wonderful. Now, Dan, you are our first greenhouse grower that we've had the privilege of sitting down and talking to. And I know Cook County agriculture has changed. Can you talk about the changes you've seen in your industry?
Wow, our industry has changed so much in my lifetime. Automation is a huge part of it. We do a lot of things mechanically that we used to do, by hand. So things get done, in an automated fashion. Wow, I don't know where to begin. From having no computers to our environments are all run by computers. We're able to track uh, the light intensity and the temperatures throughout the year, so we can adjust for our crops to keep them on a course towards finishing at the right time. This year has been a challenge so far with the cool weather because we're really having to put a lot of heat to crops like Easter lilies because that has a specific time. We're actually counting the amount of leaves that unfold each day, and then that's how we adjust our temperatures to make sure that we hit our target date. So this has been a little bit of a challenge with this cool weather.
So you count the leaves on the Easter lilies to know when they're going to be ready?
Yes, we actually dissect several plants in the beginning of the year. We do that throughout the year just to get a little better idea where we're at, if there's any differences. But we can take an average of those leaves, and then we count each leaf, how many leaves are unfolding each day, and then we know how many leaves we need to unfold to make sure that they make the right time for the season. So it's different every year. Easter is late or early, so that plays into the equation. If it's in later Easter, it's going to tend to get warmer at the end anyway. So we try to be a little bit behind so that we can play catch up if we have to, but it's hard to slow them down if it's really warm out. So we try to be a little bit behind on a late Easter and a little bit ahead on an early Easter, because this year's a good example of there's probably not going to be a whole lot of leeway for us to get super warm temperatures before April 4th.
I had absolutely no idea.
Just to and that gives us an idea too then of how many buds, because the buds are already there too. When you buy any bulb plant, all the whole plant is already in it when you get it. So we can count and see how many buds are in there and know how many buds we're going to have on the plant, or that we should have, as long as we don't do anything wrong to cause those to abort.
I had no idea. I think a lot of consumers just see the Easter lilies in store and they get there and don't really think about the process it takes to get them there.
The old adage was they always grew in your hands, because each bulb is a little bit different. They're grown out in the field in a more traditional agricultural setting. So there's those variances between the plants. So we have to adjust for ones that have fewer leaves or more leaves. So we're always moving them around the different areas, cooler areas or warmer areas, to try to get them to all be at the right, at the same time.
Very cool. Now, you talked about moving them around. In your picture behind you, you have the greenhouse. How many greenhouses do you have on your property?
We have about 2 acres. So we count them by the individual buildings or by the bays in one large greenhouse. So we have essentially 30 bays.
Very nice. Very, very nice. So within Cook County Farm Bureau, can you think of the single activity or program that you are most proud of having been part of?
Boy, that's tough. I do love the food checkout day. It has evolved quite a bit, but my youngest daughter was a preemie, so I kind of get that issue when you have problems with your child, and what Ron McDonald House does for that. So that's probably the one I'm most proud of. It's obviously changed now, but again, it's still doing something very worthwhile in the community.
Absolutely. And we had the privilege of working with Ronald McDonald House for 19 years. In the that current model of food checkout day, and I think Mike and I were talking about it last week. Everybody talks about how much fun the shopping portion of food checkout day is, but the real heart to that activity is talking to the families and
Right.
learning and seeing what your donations benefit. So I want to thank you for taking time to talk to me this morning. I realize that with spring, hard to believe right around the corner, especially since it's as cool as it is right now, how busy you are. But I want to thank you for taking time to talk about Cook County Farm Bureau and talk about Cook County agriculture.
Okay, thank you, Bonna.